Please welcome Tibetan Buddhist faith leader, Arjia Rinpoche.
Thank you. Distinguished religious leaders and all friends. My topic today is promote true religious freedom. I'm Arjia Tibetan, the director of the Tibetan Mongolian Buddhist Cultural Center in Bloomington, Indiana. I was abbot of Kumbum Monastery in eastern Tibet, the vice president of Buddhist Association of China, and a standing committee member of China's Political Consultative Conference. I cannot tolerate the Chinese Communist political method for the reincarnation of the 10th Panchen Lama. I went into exile in the United States in 1998. Now, I'd like to share with you some of the tragic experiences I went through. The disaster of the 1950s, the Great Leap Forward, and the religious reform were specifically aimed at monasteries. Only in the Tibet, thousands of people were arrested, nearly 6,000 monasteries shut down, and the tens of thousands of monks and the nuns were forced to abandon their robes and have to work in the labor camp. In 1959, His Holiness the Dalai Lama was forced into exile. Is the greatest humiliation and catastrophe in the history of Buddhism. The Panchen Lama was still in Tibet. He submitted the 70,000 character petition, asked the authorities to adjust its policies, but as a consequence, he was imprisoned for nearly a decade. Words cannot describe the catastrophe of cultural revolution. It washed away all Tibetan, Mongolian religion, culture, and identity. Although in 1980s was a promising era, but it ended with a crackdown the students' movement in the Tiananmen Square. The mysterious death of 10th Panchen Lama and his political interference in his reincarnation not only disturbed Tibetan Buddhism, but also led to the unaccountable disappearance of his reincarnation, 6-year-old boy Ginten Chijinima, and his parents. Since Xi Jinping came to power, he has implemented an president policy of extreme left. He launched re-education camps among Uyghurs and pushed for the eradication of language and the tradition among Inner Mongolians. Police stationed in Tibetan monasteries demolished Buddhist statues and monasteries, and the sanitization of Tibetan Buddhism. Monks replaced the tankas with pictures of Chinese leaders, singing revolutionary songs instead of chanting. The brutal crackdown on Tibetans has led to over 160 self-immolations, and it still continues. Finally, I saw the real meaning of religious freedom and freedom of speech since I came to the United States. I have served Buddhist centers, held many ceremonies, host interfaith dialogues, and invited His Holiness the Dalai Lama to visit. All these times, I had nothing but support, and there was no intervening. Through this International Religious Freedom Summit, I wish to make a strong demand on China and the other countries with no democracy and religious freedom, to urge them to improve their policies on the religious freedom and relax the faith environment. Thank you.